Welcome to the bold analysis. I told you one of the highlights of this month, February, is the 15th and 16th election of African Union chairperson. Raila Odinga is the Kenyan candidate for that position. He's going to battle it out with the two candidates, one from Djibouti and Madagascar. That election is just 2 weeks. Today is the 3rd, just 12 days away. After 12 days, we are going to see how it goes. It is a very decisive moment because for Kenya Kwanza regime, and they are sitting in a pain. What am I saying? The president team seem to have simplified 2027, anchored 2027 re-election, not based on the track record, but how they can be able to ensure Raila Odinga goes to AUC, to African Union Commission. Then by Raila going there, there is a simple arithmetic of we will be able to inherit Raila constituency, and through that, we are going to win the election. I wanted to hear Farouk Kibet. He was in Kakamega, said something about, I don't know, when Raila goes something. So President Ruto believes that when Raila Odinga is out of the country in AUC, then that is going to be to grant him his re-election. Now that is what I'm going to explain. But before I explain it, allow me to take a minute and look at the state of the race. African continent have 55 countries. And the continent have a total of 55 countries. And 6 of those countries may not vote or are likely not to vote just because of they are likely not to vote based on based on the fact that they have been suspended from the African Union Commission, African Union, because of coup d'etat, one reason or the other. That is Guinea, that is Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger. I think there is another country there. I've forgotten, quite a number there, that are likely, and Mali, they are not going to participate in that voting. So that leaves the candidates that leaves the total votes expected around 48 or 49. Out of this 48 and 49, any candidate must get 2/3, which means a total of 23. And the voting is done in cradle of three cradles. 3 layers, rather. So if they go the first round and no one gets the requisite number, meets the threshold, then what they will do, they will remove the candidate with least number of votes. That candidate will not go. So in the second round, they will pick the top 2. The top 2 will battle it out. Then if they still fail to get, among those ones fails to get 2/3 of the vote, then they'll go to the 3rd round. In that 3rd round, they will remove the second, number 2. That number 2 will remain. Then even if it remains one candidate, you must get 2/3. So even if you remain one candidate and you fail to get it, then they will suspend that election. There is nothing like majority rule. Now, if you look at the architecture of that race, it is very clear that it is not just a walk in the park. It's not just something very easy to work around. And the government of Kenya, we said, of course, analysts and diplomats say that Raila Odinga stands a big chance. If you compare him with the competitors, especially the biggest competitor from Djibouti, he stands a very great chance on several grounds. But that has to be well guarded by the country Kenya. So some of the factors playing out is how Kenya is navigating a bit of that space. I listened to Odour speaking about the state of Raila's race, and there is something he kept on saying Raila is willing. So when he's asked why, he says the kind of campaign that Raila have done, and then Raila have made 40 trips, almost out of the 49, Raila have visited almost 40 countries, only remaining like 9 or 7 or so. So, and then the only thing is attributing to it. And then Jeff and Oli Barrows were asking him, how about if he doesn't win? He did not want to hear anything of how about he doesn't win, because they're actually believing that is their way to re-election. I want to get a snippet of Douale's statement, because from it I'm going to develop the concept of something about the state of that race.
You mentioned Raila a moment ago.
Yes.
Yeah. He's about to go up for his job in 2 weeks' time.
He's winning, by the way.
What?
Inshallah, he's going to.
What if he doesn't?
What happens if he doesn't?
No. You guys, why do you want him to lose?
We don't. We're just saying
what happens?
You're not politicians.
He doesn't win.
These are 55 countries.
Yeah.
6 of them will not vote because they have been suspended. Okay? We remain with how many?
55 minus 6 is 49.
49.
Yeah, 49.
You need to win 32. Former Prime Minister has visited close to 40 of those countries. Okay? The president, I was in government, I was the leader of majority when I'm in Avoid. The kind of campaign President Ruto has done for our candidate. These are very critical office for the people of Kenya, for the government of Kenya. For him to win the seat, he must get 32. These are election. This is an election.
But don't forget the continent is split. The continent is split. There's Anglophone, there's Francophone.
No, and he's mentioned
there's Lusophone.
And it was,
listen,
come on, man.
She was one of the 2 front runners, and she lost.
Listen, Jeff, and look at me. Prime Minister is going to win that seat because we have 49 people voting. We know how many are going to vote for him by now. Don't take us to Anglophone, don't take us to Francophone. These are heads of states. For the first time, which I didn't get it. The East Africa region, 14 countries, close to about 11 are going to vote for Raila Odinga, or 13.
And you don't see the DRC situation impacting that at all?
No. That is only one president's vote. In fact, it is Kenya who went and stabilized the Eastern DRC. I was the Minister for Defense. When the East African regional force left and SADC took over, the measures they have used were different, as we were a peacekeeping mission.
Okay, but look, if he doesn't win.
I don't know why you are insisting on the if. I'm telling you, look at me. There are 48. For him to win, there is 32 members. The Prime Minister has done enough campaign. He visited 40 capitals. 9 heads of state were here last week. All of them confirm voting. All that you need to do is to play your role as a media house, to give more positive. Don't give negative.
I think Olive Burrows is going to be live in Addis Ababa that week.
I will.
And
I'll
be there. I'll be there.
You'll be there as well?
Of course. All of us. We have got climate functions alongside the AU, but there will be a new chairman of the African Union heads of state. Yeah. This time, I think, is the president of Angola. After that, a vote will take place. It's not a vote that is not known. These are heads of states voting, or they are foreign ministers, or they are prime ministers. Inshallah, Prime Minister Raila Odinga, as he was a Pan-Africanist, I know there are many people who don't want Prime Minister Raila Odinga to leave the local politics. Because they always use him as a guinea pig.
Let me ask you.
I'm telling you.
The U.S. government...
Without Raila Odinga, there are people who their career will come to an end.
All right, the U.S. government has...
Now, there is something that Douale has mentioned there. He has talked about the campaigns that Raila have had. Just 2 weeks, not 2 weeks, I think less than 4 days ago, the President of the Republic of Kenya was in Egypt for a state visit. And that state visit, it was supposed to happen last year, but it was delayed probably. Now, it came at that time because the president wanted to use it to campaign for Raila. So he flew to Egypt with Raila. Then Raila Odinga has also been moving in the northeastern country, in the northern Africa countries and several other countries. He only held a joint press briefing with the Zimbabwe candidate, Mnangagwa. No any other country did he ever have a joint presser. Now yesterday something interesting happened, that the Djibouti candidate was invited, actually visited Egypt. When Raila when Raila went to the northeastern countries, of course, northern African countries, the reception was there, but of course was just trying to establish using the diplomatic tie. And this giant, Egypt is the giant of the north, received and even held a press briefing, a joint press briefing, the Djibouti candidate, telling in Arab, in the Arabic language, telling them that they are supporting Djibouti candidate. They spoke outrightly, they are supporting Djibouti candidate. They said, now Raila doesn't have such an endorsement. Ambassador Musa Mohammed said, of course this is the guy saying, this morning the minister May was received by Egyptian President El Sisi. Another endorsement of his candidacy. After their meeting, he held a press conference in Arabic. A polyglot. He needs no interpreter to engage with African leaders and partners, unlike other candidates. This person is talking about language barriers. Of course, I understand the Djibouti candidates speak both English, French, and the Arabic language. So he was saying that he was endorsed, and I saw, if you check Al Jazeera News, I think, there is a joint press briefing of that Djibouti candidate in Kenya. It is very, very critical. So you saw that is supposed to show the president and the team here that it is not just enough to say he is visited. There are questions that Nanis tried bringing there about Anglophone and Francophones. There is a story that 21 countries have endorsed Raila. And of course, some of those Francophone countries, out of the 6 that are not going to vote, majority of them are Francophones. Not majority, nearly all of them. So that is supposed to work to the advantage of Raila if that angle is supposed to be there. But then it emerges that there is no guarantee that even all the 40 countries that Raila Odinga visited are going to support his bid. The other issue on the state of these rates is our diplomacy. We are not doing well on two fronts, and let's just look at the recent one. I want you to look at this video.
So you will provide a sanitary towel. You will provide. You won't take. You come and take my phone. Touch my phone, then you will see. Touch my phone. You touch my phone.
Trust me, you're not going to.
Oh, no, back phone.
You're not going to fly on KNS again. You're not going to fly on KNS.
Okay, you will see now.
You can never get our aircraft.
I will not check it down. Thank God. I'm speaking to the Minister of Finance from Nigeria. You will see.
Call the president of
Nigeria.
Call the president of Nigeria.
Okay, let's go on.
Call the president. Call your president.
Yes, we're waiting. Oh yeah, now.
Call your president.
See,
call the president.
You continue.
Continue. Yes,
you will see. Continue. I want a hotel. I need sanitary towels.
I'm not going to give you anything.
You will give me food tonight.
You're not giving you.
Yes, okay. Oh yeah, now.
You give you anything.
Very wicked set of people. 17 hours layover. 17 hours. Act of wickedness. I have blood clot issues.
Call your president. Call your president.
Oh yeah,
Call your president.
Mo ti issue ticket mẹ́ta fún mi. Wọ́n ti issue ticket, wọ́n ti issue boarding pass mẹ́ta. Wọ́n ti issue boarding pass mẹ́ta sí mi.
You are not going to fly KNS again.
Lọ sí wàhálà.
We don't want you. We don't want
the problem, and I told you.
Mo ti snap ẹ. Mo ti snap ẹ. Mo ti snap ẹ. Mo ti snap ẹ. Màá send ẹ sí yín sí. Very wicked set of people. Very wicked.
You are wicked. You are wicked. You are so
wicked. Continue. Mo send ẹ sí yín sí. Tẹ́ bá rí bó ṣe ń ṣe gbogbo àwọn Nigerians ní bíbáyìí. Tẹ́ bá rí bó ṣe ń ṣe àwọn Nigerians, wọ́n kò dà wọ́n síta ni. Tọ́ bá ti rí green pali yẹn báyìí. Òyìnbó méjì lọ ti fún ní wọ́n ti fún ní meal ticket pé kó lọ sókè kó lọ jẹun. Ṣùgbọ́n bá ti rí dúdú ara wọn báyìí wọ́n máa bá yí ara wọn jẹ́ ni. Wọ́n lò ṣì.
There's a video that was going viral here. Let me check if I have it. I really want us to have that video. There is a video of a lady who was at the airport. He came from a Nigerian lady who came from Manchester to Lagos via Nairobi. So this lady had a layover in Nairobi for nearly 17 hours. And there are reports that she was mishandled by KQ staff, and at one point she was even told to call her president. You know, you check at this. Now, these instances are not sometimes good because these are the videos that go viral. These are the small things that count on the image of a country. So our diplomatic standing, how we manage. Timundo is Nigeria. I saw a photo of Raila with some presidents in Tanzania during the East African Energy Summit in Tanzania. He was invited by Samia Suluhu. Of course, in good note, of course. But then our diplomatic standing is not standing well. The other issue is the current, how Kenya, the strategic position that William Ruto played on DRC mediation. And Ruto is currently the chair of East African Commission, East African region. Of course, cooperation, I think I'm not wrong, if I'm not wrong. So, it's normally in a change, it's a rotating, that position rotates, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, so currently it's Kenya holding it, and that's William Ruto as the person. So, in his capacity as the chair of East African Cooperation, he was actually hosting some peace mediation between Rwanda and DRC. And the DRC candidate walked out of it. Now, Kenya is supporting Rwanda. Now, Rwanda is also accused of killing South African soldiers. And Ramaphosa opened a war front with Kagame. Now, both DRC and South Africa are originally supposed to vote for Raila because Ramaphosa is a friend of Raila, a long-term friend. If there is a country I believe will vote for Raila despite of all this is South Africa. Now, DRC is a friend of former President Uhuru Kenyatta. And DRC accused Rwanda of meddling in their affairs, of course, during the M23 invasion. So, there is a lot of some complexities around it. And now that is going to just give a pointer into what is expected moving forward. The withdrawal of aid, of US aid, I've seen now they've withdrawn also for South Africa. And it only shows the kind of interest in the continent is increasing. South Africa is responded of saying, you don't give us aid, we also don't give you the minerals. I think it's a tit for tat, it's a fair game. Now, that is not the gist of this analysis. To that end, as much as we are making projections of Raila easily getting his way to the 33 votes, it is not a walk in the path. But then, I want us to answer the question that Duale failed to answer and Duale did not want to answer. What happens in the event that Raila doesn't win that position? What happens? That is the question that Duale was snubbing, was dodging around. I did not want to answer it. Number one, I think it would then take William Ruto a million steps back. Remember, even there was a move that ODM need to form an alliance with the UDA. Because if Raila fails to get it, William Ruto will be under an obligation to try to please Raila with anything. I don't know what that can be. Probably get another job at AU or something. But then, with that, it's very difficult now to know like what you do. See what Odour did. Clearly, African Union representation for infrastructure. That slot. And Raila worked there until Ruto ndiye alienda kachochea akatolewa. That's the truth. So clearly, it will be a million steps behind if Raila fails to win, because the re-election plan that is launched on Raila's bid is going to take a different position. I also see another possibility, and that is what Nani doesn't want to see. That is what William Ruto doesn't want to see. If Raila comes back in the political ring, then it's going to disorganize the whole system, the whole plan we have. Now, Raila will come back, and there are two options. He either consolidates ODM and back another candidate, or take ODM to the ballot for presidency. And let me tell you, if Raila goes to the ballot to vie for presidency, and I'm afraid he might go to the ballot, whether he's going to win it or not, if he does get AUC. If Raila goes to the ballot and Kalonzo merges with Rigathi, William Ruto cannot win that election. He cannot win that election. He cannot win that election. That for sure I know. He will become number 3 in that race. If Raila goes to that ballot and Kalonzo Rigathi form a ticket, in Ruto, I don't know, Ruto has a ticket, probably Ruto has a ticket with Mudavadi. I don't know who Raila can have a ticket with. But in that race, Ruto cannot win it. Because his strategy is to gather Western and Nyanza to counter Mount Kenya. Then the 5 million in Mount Kenya, if they decide to turn out 4 million and vote for Kalonzo, and Kalonzo adds with the 2 million from Mukambani and shares with the votes in Mombasa, Nairobi, and other places, they are going to win that election very early in the morning. That election is going to be won very early in the morning. And that is why, you see, and you know, Raila in that election is a spoiler, of course. You know that he's not going to win that. But then also, if he decides to come and join camps with Kalonzo, that's also an end game for William Ruto. And that is why I finish by saying William Ruto, point man, Didymus Barada said that they can even return back Rigathi Gachagua. Those options are bare because of eventualities if Raila loses the AUC. It's going to be a big headache. Ruto will not going to go, he's not going to have a comeback. He has overinvested emotions and political narratives in that AUC bid. And it will be difficult to undo that. It is going to be a big blow if they don't get it. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you. I will try to pursue Ruto regarding working together. What kind of reasonings are bounded and everything about that. I'll try to work around that in this week. Thank you.